Hey everyone, Ted Simpson here. We're going to do a great painting here for you today. It's one of those black canvases, so there may be a little bit of glare going on here. But I was requested to do a special painting in a few months of a painting that I did a few years ago. So I thought I would update it. I'll show you a picture of what I did. And we'll see if I improved at any point, okay? Gonna need your help for that. All I request is you make a comment or something. So, 16 by 20 canvas, set in the landscape orientation. Pretty simple set of colors here. But first, of course, with my painted black gesso canvas, let it dry completely. I already covered it with a thin layer of the liquid clear. And now I'm just picking out spots here where I have some alizarin crimson, maybe a little bit of, as you just saw, phthalo blue in it. Touch of more phthalo blue. Let's put it right up there. And then touch of phthalo blue down here, because that would be the sky and then the reflection. And let's see, maybe a little bit right there. And I don't know, maybe it's catching a little blue as well, so a little bit of purpley color. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, so I put that red on there, and just to make everyone's life easier, I'll clean my brush thoroughly. So, my odorless paint thinner, I've wiped out most of it there. Oh, my beater bucket is way over here. Now, liquid clear and paint thinner don't really like each other so much. They don't get along on a normal canvas there. We want to keep those guys as far apart from each other as possible. So, wipe it on a paper towel, make sure you get all that thinner off. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm just teasing down a little, then beating some into the full width of that brush. I'm going to put on some phthalo green. A little bit up top, a little bit down below. Moving on. Not really working it in so much. Just trying to put it where the crimson and purpley colors are not. Now I do have kind of a shot here where I can turn my head to the side and see just a little bit of that black. So I'm just trying to figure out where those black spots are, those unpainted parts. I think I got it. And if you're unsure, you can just hit those things there. Not really overworking it. I'm going to give that brush a good clean out again. Look at that. I haven't even started the painting. My paint thinner is colorific. And it doesn't want to come out of the brush too easy, that phthalo green. It likes to hang around, overstay its welcome a little bit. So I'm going to scrub that out on a paper towel, make sure I get all that off there. And because my wife went to her ceramics class, I can beat the devil out of it a little bit, spray some paint around. I'll blame the cat. That always works. Alright, so coming up here with your standard old fan brush. Pick up some color here. Pulling some smooth. Let's do a little bit of Northern Lights, okay? Dropping in some color. Just tapping kind of sideways. Maybe something up here. Maybe this one kind of comes and meanders around there. I don't know. I think that's about all we have. Maybe just a little right there. A little more color. Oh, now it's a lot. Okay, coming back to my fan brush here. I'm sorry, coming back to my 2-inch brush. No, they're not the same at all, are they? Let's go ahead with my paper towel at the ready. Let's create a pull. Just focusing on one pull here. All the way across. Don't worry. We can do more if you like. Let's get it all done once first. Okay, now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to pull a little bit of it down. Then go across. The harder you push, the more those curtains will stretch and blend into those colors. Those greens and reds will dull that white, of course. And that's about it. You don't really have to do too much. If you want to blur it any more, go ahead and just hit it once or twice sideways, but I think we'll just try to keep it like that. Okay, moving right along. Apparently not moving right along. I need a brush. I need a tool. I need a set of everything. I'm going to break out the old personal set here. My Bob Ross case. I got this when I was a fairly new certified instructor. Look at this. This is kind of like my travel kit when I go off and do demos and things of that nature. And in that kit, hopefully here, apparently one of them is missing. The one brush that I need. Well, I got to use it with the small knife here then. Let's mix up a color. Some crimson, some phthalo blue, a little phthalo green gets in there. It's not the end of the world. And let's throw in a little bit of brown as well to dull everything down. What color do we get? Something dark. Something dark. You know that crimson and green, crimson and phthalo green make a true black, or Bob calls it sometimes true gray. So having a little brown in there to that color and blue as well. This is our mountain mixture. There's another version of mountain mix. So pull some of that out, cut across, get that roll of paint, and let's have a big old mountain somewhere right up there. Maybe, as I always seem to do, change it a little bit as we go. Change that edge. And another peak right there. We're doing a fairly simple setup here for this private party, so we don't have to get too fancy. There we go. And maybe, just to clean up that edge a bit, now I come right up here, and I want to scrape off that dark color. Put a little here in the middle and scrape some of it off. You know how we do. I've done many a mountain tutorial here over the past year. Just trying some in different colors, different forms, different shapes, different sizes. Pulling some of this color out, whatever is kind of remaining in my mountain scene here, I'm pulling down, loading it onto this little 1-inch brush right here at the top, and then as I fill it in, I'm just using the color that's already there, just moving it. There we go. Now I'm just using the small knife here, and let's dance in some highlights, you know? Before I do that, I tell you what, I'm going to take just a little bit of this color, and I'm going to dull it down. Oop, I think that might have been too much. Let's try that again. Let's dull this down, just to make it a little off-white, so it's not so bright. We'll see how that works. Just a little indication. Get some snow up there. You know, and it was funny, this person showed me their favorite painting that they wanted to do, and I noticed a big glaring error in that painting. So that's why I'm just sort of sneakily redoing it. So I made my shadow color, again, dulled it down with a little bit of that background color. That way, it's not super bright. Let's bring some of that up. Very little bit. Here and there. Got a little extra on your knife. You can dance in a little bit of shadow wherever those little spots are. See a little spot here I want to get. There it is. Okay, now we go back to the highlight. Let's start putting in the main peak here. Now, once you get this stuff on, it's important that you don't try to spread it. You know, you get a little chunk of paint come off there, you just gotta kind of let it go. I still have some paint on my knife, so I am going over it, but what I'm doing is I'm flattening my knife so that rest of that paint that's on the blade still, that's what's coming off. I'm not really spreading. Bob does that quite often here. You see him just keep going because he has more paint on his knife that you don't realize. Once you start spreading, it starts to feel a little like cream cheese, you know, spreading it out on your bagel. So, all right, before I do too much more highlight, I got to come back here and let's get in some shadow here. Down and out. As I'm lowering my blade, flatter and flatter. See, get a lot off there with one small roll. This shadow color here shows up very bright, just like the highlights. So we try not to overdo it. Now, I'm going to come back to my highlight color. We're going to add a little ridge here. So that when I put a shadow next to it, look at that, we create a whole new plane right there. And I often remake my little runway here, cut off my new rolls of paint to my satisfaction. Let's add another little ripple right there, little ridge. Maybe a double ridge, maybe a triple ridge, you don't know. There we go. And same thing here, taking a little bit of that shadow color and sneaking some in wherever there is a little extra background color. Perfect spot to drop in a shadow. Now, one of the things that looks really cool, see where this peak ends here, right around this line? But you see, as we move forward, how I'm coming down a little bit more, so now I'm down here. It gives you that sense of depth and distance. This is the closest, and it just gets further and further back. So, we don't have to have as much detail back here because this is a little further away. See that? A little darker here, a little bit more distinct in the front, so that we can add our Misty's bits. Just tapping, focusing on this highlight. Ooh, picked up a little color here. Moving it down. Look at that, we can grow this mountain just by using that existing highlight. Then I sweep from the back, from the bottom up. Look how it picks up a little bit of that color that's reflected from the sky there. Start pulling some of that color right into the base of the mountain. Gives us a nice little misty bit. Same thing right here. Let's bring that down a little bit more. And a little bit of shadow. We tap the opposite direction. By tapping, got to get a little shadow on this part right here. Maybe it just sort of rolls over. Whoop. Pick up a little crimson in my brush here. We can get some little purple starting to happen at the base here. And this side has the phthalo green. Well, it's a pretty nice little mountain, don't you think? We could, of course, go crazy with detailing it. That's a nice basic mountain here to get you going. Now I think, I'm going to take a little bit of this mountain color, maybe just a touch of the shadow color if I got it. Mostly the mountain color, just slightly lightened. Let's maybe put a little foothill in here. Tapping. Maybe it's not a foothill, maybe it's land. It's a little hard to see, I know, but when you're painting and you got your nose up here, you'll be able to see a little bit better what we got going on here. Got a whole little hill being built. And before we do too much else, I'm going to come in here, clean my brush really well. This is the 1-inch brush. A little easier to clean. Get all that paint thinner off. And then, let's see here, using a small amount of this titanium white, just pulling a little bit here. Let's have a little indication of where our lake is going to be. So I'm just focusing on one side of the brush, pulling straight down. Okay. Now I do have some paint in my other side of my brush. I'm going to just brighten this up a little bit more. The more I pull down, the softer it gets as it mixes with all those undercolors. And then very lightly I'm going to go across sideways just to blur it. Create some nice reflections. And the more you blur it, it will all disappear on you. I think that's probably good enough. So, what I did here in this scene, did a little bit of different. Oh, I gotta clean that brush. Here I'm trying to pick up some white. And I was just making it green. So, another thing I got to do here is I'm just going to thin down my paint with just a drop or so. Not very much of the liquid clear. Back and forth. Let's get a little bit of that thick stuff here. Thinning it down and getting it right up here on the tips of the bristles. Kind of like how we highlight grass here, except we're doing it with snow. Bob does this on a few episodes here. And just going to come up, put a little indication of some rough looking snow here. As I'm running out of paint, I can lighten my touch and gives it the impression that it's just gets darker and darker. If I still tap, I can get a little bit of bright stuff off. So I'm just varying up my tapping technique as I go until I'm running out of paint, and you see how it just wants to absorb all this, and the more you tap it, the darker and darker it'll keep getting. So, as I need to, I can reload my brush and always brighten things up again. And then I keep tapping and just let it get darker and darker. Figure out where I want my snow. Notice how I'm working, moving forward as I work. Any spot that needs a little brightening, you can drop that in. Tappa, tappa, tappa. Create whatever landmass you want here. Make it as bright as you want to. Taking a step back, making little adjustments here. This could definitely be a little brighter. Little spots here, a little brighter here and there. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of this titanium white that has a little liquid clear in it. And let's put in a little indication of our water line. It's our little separator between the land and the water. Just trying to keep my knife always moving sideways while I lower it. You really don't want angles there. You want this to look relatively flat. This is kind of icy. It looks like it's just getting ready to ice it all up there. A couple little floating things here. Alright, let's mix it up a little. And to mix it up a little, I'm going to have to clean my fan brush. I put a lot of white into that fan brush. Oh, excuse me, I got a hiccup. But what we're going to do here is we want to make sure we have enough of this dark color here. So let's take a little bit more of the phthalo green, touch of the blue, lump of the brown, and let's sort of mix up a nice bigger batch of this dark color. Need a little bit more. Clean the old knife and we're ready to go. And I thought we'd have a couple of trees here in the background, but they're still close enough for us to see full detail, you know, some branches here. There we go. This is just the dark parts here. Just need a little silhouette. Maybe even a taller one. We'll figure out which one is in front here. Some are in the background, some are in the front. Don't have to decide now, just trying to make some basic little shapes. There we go. While I have this brush, I tell you, let's go ahead and let's make a big one right down at the bottom. We'll figure out what's at the bottom. I don't know, I'll figure it out by the time I get there. I want to change up this painting that I did, my example here, just to make this a little more fun in a classroom setting. Reloading my brush as often as I need to, bringing this one right down in front of us. Does this one need a friend? I don't know. Maybe we'll give him a little friend right there. Cool. Now, gotta have a clean brush in order to do any highlighting. And let's just tap in a little bit of, there we go, clean up the bottom a little bit. Okay, now in this scene I did have a little bit more flatter land here. To be honest, I think we could do it really quick here. If I put a little bit of flat land, just like that. There we go. And with just a touch of the liquid clear and white, if I would have just put in just a quick indication of some snow on there. Tapping sideways gives it the appearance of flatness, so there we go. Now, if I were to take a little bit of this, let's turn it right into a new reflection. Look at that. That really helped bring out that red in the corner there. So, in my little scene, we had a cabin. So, let's figure out where this cabin's going to live here. Something like right like that. Just clean up those edges a little bit. There we go. I'll tell you, the trick of making cabins is the least strokes possible. There we go. Now we did usually have a little eave under there first. There we go. Just trying to figure out how this cabin is living. Find those angles. Create the little structure, and then all I'm doing is just filling in the middle. Bob calls this, and rightly so, blocking in color. That's all I'm really concerned about, is just getting some dark color there. All the detail work comes a little later. Once you get the dark stuff in, then we can play. So, let's play. Now in this scene here, I'm gonna have a little bit of a highlight of, well, let's say a little bit of brown and blue. Maybe a little blue is reflecting from the sky, I don't know. But I make up a little marbly effect out of white, brown, and blue. Who knows if we really see much here. Might need to use the small side of the knife. Just letting that graze. And if it's too bright, just pull it down a couple more times, just a couple. Darken it a little. Then on the back side, a little bit darker, because it might be in a shadow a bit more. So it doesn't need as much highlight. Maybe a little more than that. Gotta find that color. Oh, a little too bright. So just keep rubbing it and it'll go away. But sometimes when you're working with these this small, you gotta come back and do these things a couple more times, and that's okay. Oh, but just like I just described, sometimes when you're trying to fix something, you might break something else. That's okay. Everything is repairable. Okay. There it is. So a little bit on my small side, and I can make a door. And if you do it right, you can get a little outline around the door. And then we come back with our snow brush here. Let's do a little bit of cleanup at the bottom. Oh, that snow is just going right on up. Cabin's seen better days. And a little bit of that paint. Create a little water ripple here and there. He lives right up next to the water, huh? All right, so we'll take a little bit of that liquid clear, and I might need to do a little cleanup here. I don't really have enough white. Let's take some of this white. That will work. Some of that. All of this. I don't need too much. And I just want to thin down my white with the liquid clear. And I just want a touch of the phthalo blue in it. As dark or as light as you want it, really. Looks like I got just enough here. I think this tree's in the back, so it just gets a couple. I think this tree is next in line. It's going to get a couple. Then I think this tall tree is next in line. It's going to get a few more. Then the tree on the right, that's the one that's in front. And just a couple little bits at the bottom here. And let's see here, this one here, I say this one's in the back, so we'll do him first. And then my main tree here, it's going to get some highlights going. Really running out of paint, but I think I got just enough to see those highlights. There we go. I knew it. I was going to need more white anyway. So I think here, maybe, just kind of figure out where this is going to be. Look at that, look how fast that works. And then, using my knife, let's have some rough looking snow, kind of similar to what the mountain is. There we go. Fun little scene. Adds a little dimension there, the rough detailed snow in the front. All these little shadows will just get built out. I like it. I had a fun time painting this one super quick for you. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care all.